Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about fight or flight in a slightly different way. Truly transformational leaders can identify the way in which the people they're working with react to stress and manage stress. And so, this little insight into how people manage their own stress allows a leader to help an individual set goals to move through that, which can truly feel like the leader truly gets and understands the individual and is there to help them be the best version of themselves. So it's not only important to identify when people are reacting to a situation with stress, but it's also good to understand the four different ways that people react to stress so that we can help people build their stress tolerance reactions. When we think of stress or a threat, I put the picture of the tiger in the background because that's a universal threat from back in the day. However, as we've evolved, as we've brought this fight or flight into the workplace, there are actually four different reactions that individuals can have to what they perceive as stress or a threat. The first one is to fight, to actually attack the tiger, to go at it head on. The second one is flight, to run from the tiger. The third one is to freeze, to hide from the tiger. And the fourth one is to fawn from the tiger, to convince the tiger not to eat you. So fawn as a fight or flight reaction is a little bit less known about, but very existent in our current work world. All of these adaptations of the traditional fight or flight response have been adapted to our current work environment. So as a leader of individuals, you're going to have people that you work with that respond in all four of these ways to what they perceive as stress or a threat or criticism of their work. You are also going to have individuals that are a little bit of a combination of all of these. So we're going to look at the characteristics of each one of these and why it's important for you as a leader to be able to identify where individuals are coming from when they're stressed out. And then in the next series, we're going to talk about how to individually coach those people through their different stress reactions. In the previous slide, we looked at very simple definitions of fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. In this slide, we're going to look a little bit deeper at stress/threat reactions and what they might look like and the characteristics that they each have. For someone who reacts to stress or a threat with a true fight quality to them, is going to get a little bit more irritable, a little angry, maybe slightly aggressive in the tone of their language. Or if you're in physical proximity to them, they might actually move forward towards you when they're being engaged in criticism or being engaged in a work environment that feels stressful or threatening to them. The flight individual will go to this place of anxiety, panic, or fear initially when confronted with a stressful situation. They almost have what we call catastrophic thinking. Sometimes they'll just completely picture the worst outcome in their head, and that'll cause them to panic. Then they might avoid. This is your individual that's chronically worrying. And then this is also your individual at work that feels terrible if things are not perfect. Some individuals freeze when confronted with a stressful or what they perceive as a threatening situation. They almost look like they're totally stuck, like the deer in headlights look. Sometimes it might look like spacing out, and sometimes they're very shameful and truly embarrassed by any mistake that they make, more outwardly so than other individuals. Lastly, the fawn reaction to stress or threat, which is a little less publicized when we talk about the actual triggering of the fight and flight system in our bodies for stress. But fawn people are overpleasers. They're considered the yes person. They have a really hard time saying no when they're under a lot of stress. Boundaries for this individual are very hard. So sometimes flight and fawn can be easy to confuse. And as leaders, we really do want to take a step back and watch the people that we're working with, watch their individual reactions to stress, and try to figure out which of these four categories they actually fall into. As leaders of teams and organizations, if we get the insight to where someone's thinking changes in a stressful situation, we can truly lead them through that situation and bring them to the best version of themselves at work, which is, of course, something that we all want. This is also a great exercise for you as a leader to know where you fall in these four categories when you are under a lot of stress. Self-awareness of our own interaction with stress is a really critical part in developing ourselves as leaders, our self-awareness, our social awareness, and then our ability to truly be transformative and to motivate and persuade other people in a positive way. We touched on this in the previous slide, but you might be asking yourself, why is this important? Listed on this slide are some, not all, but some of the researched qualities that make great leaders. And one of the things that you will find that truly stopping and watching your employees or the people on your team and realizing their stress reaction, and then being able to work with them in a way that actually helps them strengthen their negative reaction to stress, hits on all of these different characteristics. When you can honestly, as a leader, evaluate someone's strengths and weaknesses, that is very empowering. As you can see, empowerment is on here as well. It shows that you're actively listening and watching. It contributes to your ability to be visionary because you can see individuals' roadblocks and you can see how to help them move past them. If you're able to communicate their strengths and weaknesses in a positive way, it hits that positive, strong communicator skill, and it really makes you a problem solver. People then see you as fair. They see you as inquisitive into how the individual members of your team operate. And it also allows you to show humility. It allows you to show that you recognize that not everyone's perfect. And you can even give an example of your own journey through managing your own stress response. Emotional intelligence, resilience, supportive, empathetic, empowerment, self-discipline, and care for others. All of these characteristics are rolled up into that ability to be able to stop and watch someone's reaction to stress and see which of these characteristics that they fall into, supportively and patiently helping them understand that, and then giving them better limits and guidance around those. So in the next series that's coming your way, I'm going to give you tips for coaching the fight personality, the flight personality, the fawn personality, and the freeze personality. Because ultimately, your job as a phenomenal leader and as a transformative leader is to help people be the best version of themselves within your team. And this is a way to do it. Looking forward to this journey with you and your teams. I am here for office hours. If you want to talk through any of this, if you want help identifying who on your team reacts which way to stress, and actually, this is something you can just give to your team and ask them who they think they are as you start setting goals on how to work better as an organization together. Ultimately, the goal is to help you be better at all of these different characteristics. Looking forward to continuing to work with you. And if my office hours don't fit into your schedule, feel free to reach out. I'm very flexible.